We talked about it yesterday. We're going to make a run at the warmest temperatures of the month and therefore the year. It's 69 yesterday in New Bern. That's the warmest we've seen all month. And tomorrow we'll probably beat that on the last day of the month. I've got 70s forecasted by then. But today, a little bit cooler than that. We'll see those temperatures still above average. We're at or above the averages right now for most of us here. And we will continue to see those winds go from a northeasterly direction eventually to more of a southeasterly and then southwesterly as we head overnight tonight. Wall-to-wall sunshine for us here, but you can see not too far off towards our west. We're already starting to see some of those high and mid-level clouds working their way up through Georgia and South Carolina. And that's a warm front that's going to slip through here as we go on through the day today. So we'll add a couple more degrees of where we are right now with those temperatures. Again, a little bit cooler than where we were yesterday, but still at or above average for us here across eastern Carolina. Notice the temperatures this evening. They quickly drop down into the mid 40s. Then once we get past midnight, they actually start to rise as those southwesterly winds are going to kick in as this warm front's lifting up through the south. Area of low pressure pulling that moisture up out of the Gulf, and that's going to eventually slide to us here in eastern North Carolina. High pressure off towards our north with the clockwise flow around it has brought in that slightly cooler air for us today, but that high continues to slide offshore. On the back side of it, we're going to get that warm front lifting through the area. Now, that is what's going to help cause those temperatures to rise during the overnight hours, but also tomorrow afternoon, just depending on how much of this filtered sunshine we see before the front gets through here and eventually the rain comes in. That's ultimately going to depict as to whether we're into the mid or even upper 70s. Most of the records for tomorrow, upper 70s and low 80s. So again, we could be seeing that just depending on how much sunshine we see. Sunset tomorrow night till sunrise on Saturday. That's when we're going to be looking at that rain coming through. Then another cool high will nose in here and dominate our weather for the weekend. Rainfall wise, could be looking at a good soaker for us here, especially this time a little bit further inland, half to maybe closer to an inch of rainfall and at least maybe a couple tenths of an inch along the coast. But the winds, that's going to be the big thing for us here. Those winds really kick in overnight tonight and through the day tomorrow. Ahead of that, we could be looking at some wind gusts in excess of 40 to 45 miles an hour, especially along the coast with that warmer air coming in ahead of that front. And then we'll see those winds coming to the northeasterly direction behind that front going into the weekend for us here. So a little bit of a cool down for the weekend for Rodent Prognosticator Day on Sunday. And then you'll notice we're back into the 60s and 70s with a lot of sunshine and unfortunately not a whole lot more rainfall, at least until this time next week.